pretty look, you want live a restaurant and come done man bank book. Cook, recipe book. One in the kitchen, cause you and them no look, you better cook. Think you do you pay your pretty look, you want live a restaurant and come done man bank book. Cook, recipe book. One in the kitchen, cause you and them no look. Sunday morning, you lay down in a bed for your boil two banana, steam two fish head. You man?
Okay, let's get this show started. Welcome back to another episode of Dean and Chained. I'm your host, E, aka Venom, aka Mr. Tell It Like It Is. As per usual on the show, we discuss the battles of mating from a male perspective. Just want to start about highlighting a few points here. Everyone keeps thinking this is Prosecco, this is like some form of wine or alcohol, etc., etc. No, this is just energy drink because I need a bit of a boost in order to get me going on these monologues or whatever rants you might call it. This episode is a bit of a sticky one because I know a lot of people are going to get hurt from hearing the things that are going to be said here. They're going to sound polarizing, but there are difficult truths, okay? The truth hurts, it's difficult to deal with, and we can only learn from our mistakes and try and do better. So today's topic at hand is unmindful dating, or dating without intention, or playing the field willy-nilly and all of that jazz. Right, but before we dive deep into that topic, there's one thing I want to make clear to understand, to kind of set the tone of the show tonight, to kind of set the tone of the show tonight, and it's understanding the different kind of like phases or the different type of women there is, which is the traditional and the modern woman, right? So the traditional woman holds her end of the bargain in terms of a relationship as to what she wants in a man. She wants a provider, protector, and parental presence. You might find other things online that says that says she wants someone that can please her. But again, I'm a bit apprehensive on that because sex to women is not. Pardon me. Sex to women is not as it's not that big of a deal. It's not that extremely big of a deal, okay? As the other things are, the providing, protecting, and parental presence, someone that's going to be there. So I guess it can be a bit convoluted into the whole aspect of pleasing. But see, the problem now with the modern woman is that she wants a modern woman, she wants to adopt her feminist ideals where she kind of absolves herself from all the negatives. She absolves herself from all the negatives that come. I wouldn't even call them negative as such, with all the responsibilities and duty that comes with being a traditional woman. But she now wants the convenience. She now wants the convenience to benefit from all the treatment that comes from being a traditional woman. Like, for example, a man paying for her stuff, opening the doors for her. What's the other one? Opening the door for her. Treating her with certain respects, etc., etc. But she also wants to be able to tell him, we're equal, we're this, we're that, you do it. Do you know what I mean? She also wants to absolve herself from, I can't cook, I don't have to look after your kids, I need to go out there, chase the bag, I need to, do you know what I mean? So she wants that convenience where, yes, I want to be doing this, I want to be doing that, but I'm just going to read what I've written down in short. So she wants to adopt her feminist ideals when it's convenient for her and vindicate herself from the gloom and doom of being a feminist, right? In turn, she also clearly picks from the traditional ideals when it suits her. For example, She expects a lady treatment, but if you ask her to cook something for you, she switches to her feminist agenda and treats you. She treats you, calls you a toxic masculine or a man that's quote unquote trying to control her or whatnot. So that's that definition down in the books. You guys can quote me on that. But now, mindful dating or mindful dating, you have deep situations nowadays where women and guys feel at lost at this. The men are they're insulted, called all kind of names, weak man, don't know how to act like a man, da 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 da. When all they're saying in relationships is that, well, when we initially started out, we never started out clearly mentioning that we wanted to marry. Okay? And women find themselves in this pickle where they're like, oh, well, we've been together 5 years, 8 years. How come you haven't proposed? And they're like, well, yeah, when we got together, it was vibes, okay? We were just vibes. I had free access to your body without committing nothing, and I was good with that. Now you're trying to put conditions to that? Yeah, sorry, that's my time to go. That's my cue. And when a man leaves in those situations, he's genuinely insulted, treated as a lesser man, as if he's a lesser man. You don't know how to be a real man. You're not taking responsibility. It's like, no, scratch that. The woman needs to take some accountability. Sorry, you did not state from the beginning of our interaction that you wanted marriage. So if this is a feeling or this is an emotion or whatever, a desire that you suddenly developed halfway through our vibing, okay? If this is something that you developed through our vibing period, sorry, my time to vibe is over. So I don't want to vibe with you no more. Because me right now, I'm chasing those vibes, right? So I don't want Mandem to be insulted when it comes to that. Don't want Mandem to be insulted when it comes to that. Because ladies, you need to make it explicitly clear. You need to overtly state what your intentions are when you go into relationships. If you say it's just vibes, it's just vibes. So if you decide to walk away from the just vibes after 12 years of what you've invested your time, don't scream, you wasted my youth, you wasted your waste of time, you wasted this. That's your fault. You're taking a massive L for that. No. So the guy goes in, he's like, it's just vibes. And I'm going to say this, man, them do benefit from that, especially for the women that don't overtly say what it is they want, because you find women in situation, I won't even say situationships or entanglement, whatever, but you'll find women in a situation where they've been dating a guy for 8 years, 10 years, and then they try to pressure him to put a ring on their finger, and it's like, wait, actually, when we started this, whatever we call it, the end goal was never for me to put a ring on your finger. This was just vibes. We were just cool, right? And then the woman goes out, she's like, oh my days. She starts crying. You wasted 8 years of my life. You wasted 12 years of my life. And it's like, oh, well, hold on a minute. And everyone, obviously everyone that looks at that situation, and anyone from the outside looking in will say, oh yeah, this guy's a jerk, this guy's a this guy's a that, it's time waster, this and that. But you have to bring some sense of responsibility. You can't go through life willy-nilly. Like most of these girls are going through life, they go through life willy-nilly and they just don't know what it is they want. They know the casual fun here and there is enjoyable, pleasurable for them, but they don't know the long-term consequences of having all that casual fun. Because yes, of course, that increases your body count and everything else. And the higher your body count, the lesser your chances are for another man to take you seriously, and especially if he knows. So, men and women mating strategies are completely different. The guy is trying to get the woman at the lowest possible cost. Sorry, he's trying to get the woman at the lowest possible cost. And when I say the lowest possible cost, it's not sex work or an exchange of money or etc. etc. No, he's trying to get a woman without having to commit to her, without having to commit to her. Let it be financially, long term with his resources, and providing protection and parental presence. Right? He doesn't want. He wants to be able to have access to multiple women. Okay, he wants to be able to have access to multiple women without having to give all of those things away. That's man's game. Now, women game is, yes, I want him to be able to provide for me. He needs to provide those three P's for me. And in order for you to complete that game, that comes after the fact, which is, when I say after the fact, is after um, after maybe sexual intercourse, right? You need your game, your time for game needs to be to retain that man, to make sure all those threes are provided. So making sure all those threes are provided, continuously provided. That's man and woman's game. So the mating strategy is completely different. But if you go into something willy-nilly with your head in the clouds, being in cloud nine, don't be surprised if down the road or midway through the journey you get left. Midway through the journey you get left, because when you start the journey you need to state what your destination is. Right? When you hop on that train, when you hop on that man's train, you need to state what your destination is. You're like, look, I'm hopping on your train. I'm trying to get to destination ring or destination W, wedding, wifey, right? Once you let him know that, anything else that comes after that, if it's deceit, if it's this, if it's that, the man is to blame for it. But also, I'll go a step further to say that once you've clearly made your intention known, you need to take the due diligence steps of vetting that man to ensure that he is who he says he is, and he's going to do what he says he's going to do, and he's going to be on that journey with you. Which, if you don't take that time to vet, because you see most girls that when they meet a guy, they're on cloud nine, they have butterflies, they have all of this. They have this multitude of feelings that are going on inside them. They're like, oh my god, it's so sweet. The first 3 months, which is the probation period, is, oh god, it feels like the honeymoon phase, right? And then she now sees like, oh gosh, okay, honeymoon phase over. Let me get serious and state what I want. By that time, it's too late. He's already had the box. That's one, which is mind game, right? If he's already had the box, he's not obligated to do anything else. So if he decides to walk away and ghost you and do whatever it is, that's your fault. That is your fault. You deal with that. You take that L. You hold it. Keep it. Matter of fact, just put that L on your forehead. Just walk around. Yeah? Just walk around looking like a loser. So that L is for you. Take that L. But if from then you met him, you decide to vet him, and vetting, sorry man, I'm going to get to you. I'm just sticking because this point is beneficial for women, because plenty of women out there that are doing this. And man, them are gonna hate me for this as well, because this is kind of giving game to women to restrict or leverage sexual access to men. But if you want to give up the bucks, make sure you give up the bucks to the right person, and make sure that it's on your terms rather than over some, I'll say, unspoken terms or unspoken agreements, right? So make sure he is who he says he is. You vet him. Going back to having to teach women that you need to state and overtly tell the person you're dealing with what it is your intentions are. Right? Yes, my intentions are I'm looking to get married. None of that bullcrap of I'm looking for a serious relationship. Because that doesn't make sense. Okay? None of that bullcrap of I'm looking for a serious relationship. No, I'm looking to get married within this time frame. And during that time period, let's say some people say a year to 2 years, but I would say, okay, during that time period of a year to 2 years, you should be spending that time solely to focus on one person, the person that you have decided or you have selected to be with. You should be focusing that time on vetting the person and ensuring that they are the right candidate for you. They are the right candidate for you. And going back on the 3Ps principle, which is provider, protector, and parental presence, you need to be focusing on those qualities, making sure that the person meets those requirements. So checking in with their families, checking in with their families, checking in with their friends, long-term friends, etc., doing STIs, guys. But I don't even want to dive into that because there are man or girl out there, and I'll say this again. Maybe the fact that there's more women than men correlates to this statistic, but more women out there are loose than men, and more women out there have the clap. More women out there are loose than men, and more women out there have STIs going on in their bodies, wherever it is. So making sure that the partner you intend to be with for long run, doing those checks. And this is also beneficial for both men and women, making sure that you carry out those checks. So you vet them thoroughly and you do medical checkups. And I'll even go further for the guys. I would say check her baby pictures, because I'm not gonna lie, there is some transformers out there, right? And I don't want to offend any community, but there is some transformers out there. There's some people that there's some people that I'd say I'll call them the gender benders. you know the air bender and all of this. They're the gender benders. So careful of that. So you make sure you do your thorough checks, because you don't want to be like halfway through and then you're like, oh snap, what is it? You don't want to get caught by surprise. Make sure you carry out your checks. See the baby pictures, the birth certificate, and see what they had, the sex they had given to the child and stuff. And that's how you go about making those decisions. And then now, stating clearly what it is you're in there for. So, yes, we are in this together, but we're seeking marriage. And to me personally, it doesn't take more than a year to vet someone. It doesn't take more than a year to vet someone. I know most people are gonna be outraged. What? More than a year to vet someone? That's not enough to commit to someone. Actually, that is far more than enough to commit to someone, because you will never know. You will never, and I repeat this, you will never truly know a person unless you live and or travel with them. So you will never truly know them unless you live and travel with them. And shacking up with a person, it's not ideal. Otherwise, you can, yeah, you could do what, cohabitate. But once you cohabitate with a guy, it's a bit it's a bit harder for him to bend to your needs and your demands. So you no longer have leverage there, and you know, this is beneficial for women as well. So a guy will be happy if you come to a guy, and I'll say this because is in fact marriage is in fact is beneficial for men in terms of protecting their lineage and ensuring that they have exclusivity. Well, I can't even speak. They have exclusivity to their partner's womb, etc., etc. So they ensure that their lineage, their progeny, is carried on, and the baby that comes out of their partner's womb is actually theirs. Yes, but other than that, marriage is actually not beneficial for men. Is actually, other than that particular aspect of what I mentioned, is actually detrimental to men. And you see, most men in the West are running from it. Most men in the West, they're running from marriage. And I said this again in one of the episodes, is that yes, men are scared of marriage. Okay, men are scared of marriage. Women are scared of commitment. Women are scared of commitment because the choice is in fact all in a woman's in a woman's hand, because especially in the West, she gets to select who she mates with, right? And opposed to other countries and cultures, etc., women in the West, they have that freedom because there's such a vast amount of freedom, uncontrolled, untamed freedom, where they just like, yes, I'll make choice there, I'll make choice there. And there's an abundance of choices that end up almost not making the right choices most of the time, right? And I'll go in a little bit into why I say this. Due to hypergamy, women are scared of commitment. Those are the primary steps you need to take when vetting for a relationship that you want, that's going to lead to marriage, which is the ultimate goal for every woman out there, right? It's the ultimate goal for all women. Okay, the ones that say no, it's not, it's cap. The one that says no, hell it cap. They're capping to the max. Or the ones that say that, they're bitter and they're old and they know they're not gonna secure a man like that. They're not gonna secure a man that's gonna commit to her. They're just like, I would say they're just the town bicycle where man, them just everyone comes and ride it and then leaves, rides it, leaves. Do you know what I mean? Kind of like Barclays bike, fam. So everyone just rides it, pedal it for some time, just park the thing, and then next man comes and pedals the thing, right? Okay, so that's one. Now, for the man, for the guys, it is exactly the same. Okay, it is exactly the same, but we desire different things. So mating strategies a bit. The steps are the same, which is of course vet. But I'll go a step further. So vet her, check family, friends, making sure she is what she says she is. I'll go a step further. Check the baby pictures, check the birth certificates to make sure, because, bro, there is some transformers out there, okay? There's some transformers, some gender benders, some genital benders. Anyway, I don't want to get cancelled and go into extremes here, but just make sure, look into all the details, because if you don't want to get caught by surprise that, oh, bro, I'm this. I think I'm this now because I've done it with that person and they just told me that they're not who they presumably said they were before. So making sure you carry out those checks. And it's also, again, another point I want to stipulate. Do your STIs test, okay? I don't know if this data correlates with the fact that women are, there's more women on the planet than men, but there is more women out there with STIs, with sexual transmittable infections, than men. There's more of them out there. So make sure you vet her. You check that she wasn't a town's bicycle. People weren't just taking rides left, right, center. Make sure you check all of that, right? And once you check all of that, you now take the necessary steps that you need to take to lock that down, to guarantee that exclusive access to her body, exclusive access to her womb, and everything else. Yes, before almost got lost in my train of thoughts there. Secondly, for Amanda, the dating of single moms, you need to inspect the ways in which she got that child. If she got that child loosely, out of no dignified means, for example, marriage. If she didn't get that child out of marriage, she got that child out of being young, dumb, right? Just, I don't even know how to say this, okay? Because a lot of people are going to get hurt by this. Make sure you check those reasons and you make sure her head is now in the right space before you move into that. If she got the child out of marriage, again, you can consider and be like, yeah, cool. Because no man wants to pay a greater price for a woman. No one wants to pay a greater price for a woman who has had a child. And that is very difficult to do. That is very, sorry ladies, that is very difficult to do. No man wants to pay a greater price because it's like person A got the highest thing that you can offer a man without committing anything at all to you. And now I come into your life without kids, without none of this, with all my resources and my time. And you're trying to get me to pay a higher price for you, which is marriage. And kudos to the men that do it out there. Okay? Kudos to the men that do it out there. Their women should respect them to the fullest and respect and love them to the fullest. And I say this, they should respect and love them to the fullest and damn near obey every direction that they give them. Damn near obey every direction that they give them, because that is not a simple task and a simple thing to do. That is a very difficult thing to do, to accept. Very difficult thing to do. And man, then the reason I'm saying this, to not do that, for one, is because you're not encouraging the loose behavior of some women out there, people dating with their heads in the cloud, not taking any accountability, responsibility for the sort of consequences that might result to their promiscuity. So make sure you don't do it. You don't do it because I mean, I can still remember there was a time where women were told marry before you carry, and if you actually had carried before you married, there was a lot of shame that came with that, and there was a lot of men that couldn't take that. But due to the fact that in this day and age, women have this untamed freedom of choice, and they actually leverage sex against they actually leverage sex against beaten males, right? Guys, be careful. So get in that zone, get in that abundance mindset zone where you say, look, if I take this responsibility, you're going to damn near um, follow my lead to the letter. You're going to damn near follow my lead to the letter, and I demand ultimate respect. Okay, that's how it goes. And no woman should ever be in a position to say that's what a real man, or that's not what a real man should do, because you're a woman and you would never know what a real man is, what a man is not. Okay, so stay in your lane, stay in your femininity, and do what you gotta do. Because you have this sense of entitlement from women where essentially they'll run loose. They'll run loose to a certain age. They say, okay, my prime years is when I'm 18 to 27. Okay, my prime years are from 18 to 27. So I'm going to use that time for myself. And then once I've done everything under the sun that I want to do, I'm going to try and settle down at 30. I'll even go to the extent to say, look, man, the girl is 30 and she's never married, she doesn't come from a divorce or anything like that. Bro, just don't approach. Don't approach. Don't. And again, women, man, them are not gonna take you seriously when they find this out. They're just not going to tell you, but they won't take you seriously. The guys won't take you seriously. Okay, they will happily string you along onto something that you supposedly think is something serious, but when it reaches that stage, they will tap out. When it reaches that stage of, okay, now's the time for me to commit, get the ring, get this and that, they'll say no. Okay, so women, your prime is when you're 18 to 23. From what I remember, the data pointed to. The peak of a woman's prime is actually when she's 23. Whereas a man actually attains manhood at the age of 35 and later, so 40, right? So he's literally at his prime at that time. That's the peak in terms of financial stride, life experiences, and wisdom. Of course, the wisdom varies and intelligence varies from people to people, right? But at that age, he's managed to stack up some wealth. He's managed to stack up some knowledge. He's managed to stack up some life experiences. So he's actually a bit versed at life. Okay, so men and women's prime are very different. So Mandem, if she doesn't want you at her prime, just don't wife her in her decline. Don't wife her in her decline. She don't want you at her prime. Don't wife her in her decline. Because most women are like, yeah, do you know what? My 30s, I want to hang up my career accolades. I want to hang up my feminist flag, and I want to be someone's wife. And so by that age, she's already set in her ways. She's already set in her ways, in her values. She's already set in, I'll say, how loose she was if she was the town bicycle, right? And most of them wonder why they demand so much from a man afterwards. They're like, oh, do you know what? I need to do this, I need to do that. And whatever you do for her then is no longer impressive. If you say, oh, I'm going to take her to Paris, she probably already dated a guy that's smashed her for practically 12 months and took her occasionally to Paris. So Paris is nothing new. So she's learning no new experiences with you. She's not discovering anything else with you. And so she's not impressed by that. Okay? And a lot of men feel that, no, some girls are ungrateful. Some girls are ungrateful. But this ungratefulness doesn't come because sometimes they're not even aware of it. There's no that, there's just that cognitive dissonance from, they're not even aware. It's not something that's at the forefront of their brains when they do it. It's just that they've done it so much with so many different guys that to them it just becomes nothing. Whereas, no, if a guy takes you to flipping Paris, that means a lot. You should damn near be jumping and hugging it. Or you can take yourself there. You should be appreciative of the actions and effort that he's putting in. But because they've already done it with so many guys, so it means nothing to them. You take her to a steakhouse, you take her to this, to this, to this place. She's like, oh yeah, someone's already done that. Someone's flew me out. Someone's done this. Someone's done. Oh, but you know what, babe? I love you. Relax. Do you know what that does to a man's ego? That crushes it. That crushes it. That crushes a man. And it's not to say, oh no, the man ego. It's that no. You need to get with a man in your prime. And man, don't get with her when she's past her prime. If she's past her prime, she's acquired all these experiences that she hasn't shared with you, but she shared these experiences and memories with other different men that have not committed to her, do not engage. And women will wonder why, oh, why are they not taking me seriously? They're not taking you seriously because they know you've done all of this and you're unappreciated. And most times women don't even realize that they're being unappreciated. So get with a guy in your prime. That's the mating strategy. Get in a guy with your prime because that gives you more leverage in terms of, gives you more bargaining power in terms of, yes, I'm in my prime. I can demand this, I can demand that from my partner. And when guys you're in your prime, which is in your 40s, etc., and you haven't married and you're looking to get married, make sure you damn near get what's best for you. Because I see most guys, they settle. Most guys settle. And I remember having this debate with one of my friends, and it was like, oh, he was like, bro, I see a lot of Jamaicans with like, you know, some fluffy white women and stuff like that and everything else. I'm like, well, there's many reasons to that. Okay? There's many reasons to that. Most men, yes, we do settle. We do compromise in what we want. We do compromise in the qualities that we see in women because we seek peace. Okay? End of the day, men seek peace in a relationship. We don't seek chaos. Okay? We seek peace. So what they will get from a fluffy partner, such as people can see it, is that they will get someone who is who is extremely caring, understanding, someone who submits beautifully and follows their lead. That's what they would get in a partner when they generally go for that. And also they get someone who is nurturing. They get someone who is nurturing, who is not always on I'm trying to be the talk of the town. I'm trying to be the hot stuff. I'm trying to be what's on the streets. I'm trying to be what's desired out there. I'm always trying to know what's popping. That's what they get. So they decide to lower their requirements, lower their standards in order to gain in that particular aspect of what they want. Which is, yes, I need to ensure that I reproduce, um, and I know that the child is mine and everything else, and I need to ensure that I have peace of mind when I get home and I can unwind and do this and all of that. So that is the principal reason why they go for this, and most of them are unaware of this. And people will be like, no, no, no. There's some guys that they genuinely love fluffy women. They genuinely love fluffy women. No, they love the qualities in those fluffy women. But if you were to put, and there is no objection, if you put a woman that's in her best fitness shape, and you put a fluffy woman in front of them, they will definitely go for the woman that's in her best shape. If both of them presented the same qualities, that it's just that the fluffy woman, she has more qualities to her other than her appearance. She is far more. She caters to her man far more than the one who's normal. That's just in the modern woman. And this is not me taking a stab at the fluffy ladies out there. But if you're fluffy, you feel some type of way. You need to work on that. You know what I mean? Work on that to be in your best shape, not only for the guys, but also for your health and well being. You know, make sure you work on that to be in your best shape. For your health personally, and then also to satisfy and to be pleasing to your partner, because that's what men are attracted to. Right. In conclusion, men and women, dating or evolutionary biology of mating strategies completely different. And guys, try to get the best for yourselves when you are at your peak of your financial stride. If you're getting married at 40, if you're getting remarried at 40, try to get what's best for you out there. Women, your 30s, it is not your prime years to get married. 30s is not your prime years to get married. Try to secure a man between the age of I'd go try to secure a man between the age of 20 to 25 or 26. Try and secure a man from those ages, because other than that, what it states to a man is, okay, what were you doing from that time period to this time period? Were you just playing the field? Were you just doing this? And most women, yes, when they play the field, they don't take into account uh, uh, the consequential unwanted pregnancies that come with it. And they're like, oh, you should take me as I am. It's like, oh, well, sorry. When you laid down and did the deed, you should have known that this could have happened. And when it happened, that lowers your level of requirement, your level of demand. And the women that try to step into a relationship when they're 32, 33, 35, you need to be extremely cautious with that, because if it takes you a year to vet a man, which to me, yes, that is the maximum amount of time you need to vet an individual in order to be with them, because you will never fully know an individual unless you leave or travel with them, right? Those two things. So if it's going to take you a year to vet the man, it's going to mean that will mean that you have about a year or 2 years left before you get into what is called geriatric pregnancy, where your good eggs actually reduces. And I know a lot of people are going to hit me with a counter. Oh no, but I can freeze my eggs. Yeah, for those that have the money to do it, they can freeze their eggs until they're even 50. But sometimes they won't be able to carry it. And rare are the cases of women that have frozen their eggs and successfully got a baby out of it. And sometimes when they got a baby out of it, they had to do surrogates and all this different jazz, like all these maneuvers left, right, center, in order to actually have a child. So when you reach that age, your amount of good eggs reduces in number. The amount of good eggs reduces in number, and your chances of having a child with okay. I'm not trying. I'm trying to give the politically correct version of saying it. So the chances of you having a child with disabilities or that's being affected by Down syndrome or what's that other one? Oh gosh, I don't know, guys. I'm laughing my head because there's bare ideas popping up, but they're not clean for the public audience to say. And this is not me taking a stab at people that are disabled, but it's just saying increases your chances of having a child with defects, with special needs, right? So women, be careful with that. Be careful with that. So try to hit and get a man in your prime, have your babies in your prime, because that gives you enough time to see your kids grow, to be with them, to all of that. Do you know what I mean? It's actually a beautiful thing, because if you have your kids later in life, you will never be able to relate to them and be able to coach them as a parent in terms of their life experiences, because you're 40 years or 50 years older than your children. The world that they see and experience will be completely a retrospect. Will be a complete be a complete retrospect to what you live throughout your life. So your advices and your counseling or your guidance that you give to them as a parent might not even be relevant or apply to their situation. Okay, so that is something to take into account in summary. And London, for your progeny, for your mating, for your this, ensuring your lineage and everything else. And I'll put a big emphasis, continue to put a big emphasis on lineage, preservation of wealth, preservation of genes and everything else, making sure you select a good partner, making sure you don't select a loose cannon, the town bicycle, making sure you select someone of decent values, etc., etc., etc. Right? Because that is going to be the one that's going to carry your culture, your teachings to your children. Because women live longer than men. And if you select a loose cannon, the minute you pass, her sense of direction goes away. So if you're not there to dictate, do this, do that, her sense of direction goes away, and your genes will quickly scatter and terminate. Literally, they'll even terminate death, and then a year or two after you're gone. So be careful and be aware of that. Anyway, that's all for me tonight. I was your host E. This was the Dean Unchained podcast. Peace.